Hello everyone, Flamingo Creeper here. Who doesn't love a good slice? Of pizza, that is. Tonight I have some stories about pizza whackers for you. So sit down, close your eyes, and get comfortable. This story is from the perspective of a male. I am currently in my 30s, but when I was a teenager, I worked as a pizza delivery driver. It was the middle of a hot and sticky summer when this occurred. It was your average shift. Person orders pizza, I take the pizza to their house and exchange it for money. This particular time wasn't exactly as average as the others. I brought the pizza to the man's house, a derelict, run-down government housing place. Knocked on the door and he answered. Stank of cigarettes and alcohol, stained shirt and grotty hair. When I told him the price, he yelled at me.
What do you mean it's $19.90? I was told it was going to be $19.70. How dare you?
I told him to calm down and that it was the price that was on my receipt. Unfortunately, we have rules against what we can and cannot do. So even though it was only 20 cents, it wasn't within my powers to lower the price. When I told him this, the man flipped out and started screaming about how he would teach me a lesson, and then he pulled a knife. Something to mention about these pizza bags. There is a metal plate in the bottom, which helps in case the pizza box becomes soggy from condensation. I used this part of the bag to hit the man over the head. As soon as he'd lost balance, I ran straight for my car, locking the door and driving away. When I got back to work, I explained to my manager what happened. He told me not to worry about it, and marked it on the do not deliver list. This story is from the perspective of a female. When I was 18, I worked in a pizza place in the city. On this particular day, I was working the long shift, 15 hours, meaning it was an early start with a late finish. I was halfway through this nightmare shift when my co-worker had to run down to the shops for ingredients for the super shakes. I was out on the back room, using the machine to grate cheese, when I noticed on the CCTV monitor a woman had come behind the counter. I grabbed one of the pool cues that we keep for patrons to use to play pool, and step out to confront her. Now to put this in perspective, I am 5'5" and was a tiny 59 kilos, or 130 pounds for the Americans, and an emo. It was fashionable at the time, but suffice to say, I was the furthest thing from threatening. When I step out to confront this woman, she starts yelling at me and tries to intimidate me. I was terrified. She towered over me, had missing teeth, and really old, poorly done tattoos that had gone green. Looking at her, I could tell she wasn't sober. She smelt of alcohol, with track marks running up her arm. I wanted to nope the hell out of there, but I stood there in the fighting stance my co-worker had taught me. There was no other choice at this point. If I ran, she would probably follow me, and the phone was on the opposite side of the back room. She keeps stepping towards me, and in the most aggressive voice I could muster, I told her to get the fuck out before I called the cops. She goes to throw a punch. I would like to say I ducked, but in all honesty, I slipped on a rogue piece of pineapple. As I fell, I hit her hard in the side with the pool cue, knocking her to the ground. She mustn't have expected it, as she got up and legged it out of the door, whilst I yelled at her that I was calling the cops. I did call them, and they did what they could. I have no idea what, as I never heard back. I was seriously glad when the cops had gone, and my co-worker had finally returned. I won't lie. I sobbed for maybe about an hour, before pulling myself back together and putting my retail face on. Unfortunately, my replacement wasn't going to be in for another 4 hours. This story is from the perspective of a female. In 2008, I worked at a pizza place in the city centre. The problem with the area was it was down the street full of clubs, pubs and dive bars, which can be problematic for a teenaged girl. The shift this happened was on a Saturday day. The man, and what I assumed was his girlfriend, came in. The man had an accent, and the girl didn't talk much. I had to guess what he was on about for pizza toppings, because he used different terminology, such as saying sausage instead of salami. Aside from him staring at my chest the whole time, I thought nothing weird of him. I went out back and started making his pizza, brought it out, and he thanked me. The girlfriend wasn't with him, which I would have thought odd, except in the pizza shop I worked in, there is a mini arcade built in, and I figured she was probably playing one of the games. When this guy thanked me, he tried to put a $5 note down my shirt. I backed up and told him not to touch me, ever, or I would be calling the police. I shook it off, put on my happy face, and went back to my duties. It had been 3 hours since the mentioned man had bought the pizza. I figured by now he was long gone and went to clear some tables. He was still in his seat, girlfriend still missing, and the pizza had not been touched. I decided he was just a run-of-the-mill junkie, and thought nothing of it. I went down the arcade area, and his girlfriend wasn't there either. I figure I must have been mistaken, and that she wasn't his girlfriend, except they were all over each other when they came in. I tried not to think too much of it. Odd behavior was normal down that street. Another 2 hours pass, and I need to use the bathroom. Unfortunately, there isn't one attached to the shop. I have to go out the front, around the side, and through to the back. There is a key to a locked toilet in the parking lot which we have to use. The creepy guy is still sitting there with his untouched pizza. I am weirded out, as he has had this pizza for 5 hours and hasn't touched it or moved. He wasn't even playing around with his phone. He was just sitting there and would stare at me whenever I would come out. So I walked down the alleyway, stepping around various pools of vomit, blood, and other questionable fluids. I do what I need to do, and when I get out the bathroom, the creeper guy is now standing out the front of the door. I instinctively lock myself back in the toilet. He knocks gently on the door and says something like,
Come on, gorgeous. Come out and play. I won't bite hard.
I don't say anything, and just wait for him to get bored and leave. But no luck. He tries again, knocking, and this time saying something like,
Come on, beautiful. I only want to fuck you. I promised the other girl meant nothing.
I am freaking out. This guy is easily twice my age, and I honestly couldn't defend myself, nor did I have my mobile phone on me, so I could not call for help. Now he starts slamming on the door, yelling at me to come out and take it like a woman, and that by not coming out, I'm only making it worse for myself. I'm now in tears and looking around. I am hoping that with logic out the window, that there will be an intercom or something. I struck gold though. Someone had dropped their mobile phone and not noticed. I called the cops to come and assist me, and then my shop and asked my co-worker to come and get me. Both rocked up at the same time. The guy had been arrested before for rape and possession of narcotics. From then on, I kept my phone on me. I made a rule with my co-worker. If I wasn't back from the bathroom in 5 minutes, call. So guys, that was my second video. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you like that I channeled my inner crypt keeper for the beginning pun? You know you love a good pun, because they're punny. I'm sorry. Down in the description is my email and my Facebook. Follow me, stalk me, try to creep me out with your own stories. And of course, if you're doing that, please give me full disclosure allowing me to tell your story. I would love to keep this above board because, from what I understand, they're cracking down with copyright. Keep it creepy, guys.